All right, we're going to jump ahead and we're going to get started. This way we'll be respectful of folks' time. Uh, my name is Matthew Rutler, for those I haven't met. We got a 1 second. My co-director is trying to call in, but it says all circuits are busy. Okay, just ask her to give it another shot. That's what happens when too many folks are just calling in at the same time, but it should just, if they call in a second again, they should be able to get through. Sorry about that. So again, my name is Matthew Rutler. I'm the COCA president, and I am also the camp director for Camp Happy Times here in New Jersey. So I'm going to be helping to facilitate our wonderful town hall today. Just a few things to get us started. First off, thank you all so much for being with us this afternoon. At least it's this afternoon for us on the East Coast. Just really appreciative of the time that you're putting in for your camps and to join us on the call. We're hoping that this will be a very informative call for folks, and you'll be able to walk away with some valuable information. If everyone would be so kind as to currently just keep yourselves on mute until you obviously have something to share, add, or question. This just cuts down on background noise, so folks can really pay attention and listen. Just so everyone is aware, you will receive copies of everything, and when I say everything, I do mean that. We are you will receive copies of our pre and post surveys to the town hall, as well as the slideshow that is on the bottom of your screen for those who can see it. And also copies of the chat functions, not just for this town hall. You'll receive them from all the town halls. So in case there's something that was said in Region 1's call last week that could apply here, we want to make sure that you have as much information as possible. So we will share all of that with all of you. This is our last town hall of this topic. But we will, we have our medical town halls coming up this evening and tomorrow evening that we're hoping that members of your camp are going to join us on as well. So jumping right in, if you are going to share or say something, please do. I encourage that. But also, if you could just introduce yourself, your name and camp, because we actually do have Ryan Campbell from Happiness is Camping here in New Jersey has graciously given up a lot of his time. He has been on every single one of our town halls taking notes. So we will make sure that, we want to document who says what, so this way we can follow up, or if anyone has questions, they can follow up with those individuals and those camps to get more information. So he's on the call taking notes. So if you could just introduce yourselves when you go to speak, that would be much, much appreciated. So the first slide you're going to see is 5 topics. These are topics that came to us via our membership. When we sent out the pre-surveys, these are the topics that came back the most for us, and that's the 5 that you see on the board. The summer camp scheduling and operations, additional year-round programming, which may include siblings camps, parent weekends, in-hospital programs, etc., volunteers and staffing, fundraising, and then alternate delivery of programs, which means your contingency plans, the virtual camps, the camps in a box, etc. So these are the topics that we're going to really touch upon today. Again, it really is where you all take it, which leads into our next slide, which is what's our town hall. So in reality, this is your town hall. While we did create an agenda, it's really a fluid agenda because it's all dependent on where you take it, what questions you all have of each other, what you can offer to us. So it's all about your input. It's all about your camp and your campers. So we're not going to really go in a huge in-depth conversation about the scientific status of the coronavirus. We all know its effects on the body, but we are really looking to see its effects right now on our camps and our campers specifically. It's not a lecture. I have a lovely speaking voice, but you know, it's not going to be me talking to you the whole time. I'm just here to really facilitate the conversation and move it along, um, and pose some questions. So, the more y'all contribute, the better. It's not a time to be silent. This is really a learning opportunity for all of us. This is really uncharted waters that we're all facing. So we want to make sure we can get as much out of it as we can. So please speak up as much as possible. We'd love to hear from all of you. So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to jump right in with our first topic, which is camp scheduling and operations. So the slides that those can see on the screen, and I'll talk about it for those who are on a call. These came directly from the pre-Townhall Survey that was sent out. So the first, the pie chart is in regards to current state and local restrictions that face or affecting your camp operations. So these are things like travel restrictions, social distancing, max number of people at an event, school closures, etc. So obviously all being pretty large and significant percentages. The second chart, the bar graph, is all about have you had to cancel events or plans for these time periods. So you can see, or the largest obviously in April, the majority of things have been canceled. May, and then June, things are slowly starting to be canceled. Based on the survey results that we had, a lot of folks that run camps in July and August are pretty much in a holding pattern right now. They're still planning the process, but haven't canceled yet due to the fact that their programs are so much later in the summer. So this is just a snippet from the survey that we sent out. Again, you'll receive copies of the complete survey later on. So I'd love to just jump into the conversation and ask y'all to talk about the camps, your camps. Have we had to, or have you had to cancel them or reschedule them, thinking about postponing? What really went into that planning process? What are some of the criteria that you used? We could talk about the facilities. If you own or rent your facility, what does it look like if you need to postpone or reschedule? So we can start talking about that. So anyone who'd like to contribute to that first section about your camp, we'd love to hear from you.
So, Matt, I do have a question.
Yes, of course.
My name is JC. I have a complicated French name, so we'll just go with my initials. JC from Untitled Foundation up in northern Quebec. You did mention that most people will have camps in July and August. I can't remember if my next question was asked in the survey or not, but when is it that most people are going to take a final decision or a decision concerning the July and August camps? Was this something that you've heard about?
Yeah, that's actually come up quite a bit in our town halls. I can speak for my camp. We are the third week of August, so our cutoff date right now is July 1st. Is when we will make our final decision, unless of course we hear earlier, if the CDC says they need to extend everything past through the summer, obviously we'll go with that. But right now our goal is approximately a month out, and it seems that I've heard from camps as little as 2 weeks out to as much as a month out. Folks have been deciding that's their cutoff date. I don't know if there's anyone else in the room that has a similar time frame or a different time frame they'd like to share.
Yeah, this is Danielle from the Canadian Cancer Society Camp Good Times in British Columbia, and we have canceled all of our spring year-round programs, but the majority of our actual summer camps and family camps start the first week of July through to the end of August. So we've communicated with our volunteers, staff, and families that we'd be making that decision by the end of April. But I know financially we probably have to make that decision a little sooner. So that's, yeah, what we're doing.
It's Lauren from Camp Quality. Same with Danielle. We're going to be making the decision sometime in April. We rent all of our sites, so we have to make those decisions quickly so we can still get refunds on our deposits and things like that. But I imagine in the next 2 weeks we'll have a decision about our programs.
I should also mention, for those who are using a computer or tablet and have that chat function, if for some reason you notice that your microphone is not working, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this earlier, it happened last town hall, you can utilize that chat function and type in your question, and we'll be sure to ask and hopefully get an answer for it as well. So feel free to use that chat function. We are monitoring it. I should have said that earlier, I apologize. So while you're,
Hi, it's Sam.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I know that there are meetings tonight and tomorrow with our medical professionals. I know our medical director will be on that call or in that session. And I think it's a gathering of information right now because we run a day camp, starts end of June, continues into late August. Certainly there's a lot of concern and a lot that was mentioned already in terms of rental facilities, staffing, all the rest, busing, all that goes into it. You know, we've been calling a lot of our parents, or really calling all of our parents, and I think they're tired of having their kids home. They're about done. So they love us to have camp. But you know, it is kind of out of our hands at this point. You know, I'm fascinated the fact that people are making decisions as early as mid-April. I just want to get a sense of that, whether that is, as noted, because of rental issues. You know, because that is a big issue.
So given this, JC again, given this, who other than UCH owns their own facilities, let's say in our region?
We do at Camp Kindle.
This is Jen from Brigadoon, representing Camp Good Times in Nova Scotia, and we own our facility as well. We haven't made a decision on when we're going to cancel or postpone yet.
Yeah, and then Ben with Kids Cancer Care Camp Kindle, we haven't made a decision on summer yet. We did, like some of the other camps have cancelled our spring season and moved our staff to potentially just the summer.
So it seems like there's a good mix of folks who do own and do rent, which obviously can, you know, it adds a whole nother element to the decision making. I know with us, for instance, at Happy Times, we rent, but we also rent a site that is in another state for us. So, you know, while the decision for New Jersey may be one thing, we have to also look at Pennsylvania's states rules and regulations in order for us to have our camp there. So I'm not sure how that goes with all of you as far as, you know, different provinces and such, if you hold them in the same, or you know, if there are other policies or procedures that have to go into play. But also I'll put this question out there so we can continue the conversation. Thinking ahead as far as what our camps might look at if we need to postpone, or if we are going to, you know, move forward with our camp as it stands now. Has any of the camps really assessed the availability of your campers if you need to postpone per se, or your volunteer staff if you had paid staff? You we're also hearing from a lot of the camps that medical staff may become an issue at the campsite because they may not have enough, paid time off, or they put the week as a week vacation, but may not be able to get it anymore. So I'm curious to hear from the camps. Have you heard from or reached out to your staff to see if you needed to postpone? Would that be something that you could do in regards to your staffing and campers and medical staff?
Hi, it's Mackenzie from Kids Cancer Care, Camp Kindle. I'm the nursing manager for our foundation. And so far what we've done is put out communications to all of our casual medical staff with a timeline. So we've scheduled them for weeks of summer camp sessions, but to communicate with them directly in the event that we cancel certain weeks.
Thank you. Any other folks have reached out or heard from your campers that or families that they're concerned? Well, it could be flip side. They could be concerned because there may not be camp, or they may have concerns because there is going to be camp. No? Okay. Has anyone in the process of going through this time period, it came up in one of our other town halls in regards to insurance, whether we've looked at our insurance policies in regards to switching the weeks or postponing, or from the side aspect or the look of if a camper or a staff member either comes to camp not well or not feeling well, or the fear is that they get it there. Has that come up, or anyone has reached out to their insurance carriers in regards to this topic?
Hi again, it's Mackenzie from Kids Cancer Care. So to my knowledge, we haven't touched base with our insurance providers, but we have amended our health screening practices to reflect the incubation period for COVID-19. I don't know if that's helpful, but.
Absolutely.
Hi, this is Jen calling from Brigadoon again. I have been in touch with our insurance provider or our broker with a few different questions, but I don't have any definite answers about just business interruption insurance on our side. But it seems like it's kind of uncharted territory for them a bit. So I'm just kind of keeping in communication with them.
Absolutely.
Lauren from Camp Quality, about the same as Brigadoon. We've reached out to our insurance company just to see kind of what support there is, and to update our business interruption service if we were to suspend programs this summer, and what support and things they would have for us, but no definite answers now either.
Yeah, this is truly a learning curve for I can safely say all of us. This is not something I think any of us really, extreme weather, I'm sure we've all planned for, but this obviously is taking on a very, very different different approach. One other thing I'd definitely like to throw out, and it came up in one of the other town halls, so I'll throw it out here as well, is if you have been planning your camp, because I don't know about y'all, I kind of start the week after the previous year ends. Any contracts that you may have signed or created? I know a lot of camps now are looking at, if they sign a contract, they're looking for no harm clauses or, cancellation clauses that, obviously won't affect either party, as far as in terms of, having to pay one way or the other. So just curious if that's something that y'all have been in the process of or thinking about, if you all have gotten further than we have.
Ian from Camp Happy Days. One thing that we've found is with the cancellation of our weekend in April, the group was really understanding, obviously, with everything going on, but the hard part has been the rescheduling of it with them, because they've already got allotted dates set for other groups that planned in those months. And so not only are we fighting with the last bit of open dates, but still trying to have the event, and everyone else is trying to reschedule as well. So that's kind of been the biggest hurdle with that.
Yeah, Danielle from Camp Good Times again. Yeah, we rent our facilities, and so all of our contracts have been signed for the summer. And both of our facilities that we rent are okay with us losing our deposit, but then not paying what we need to pay if we tell them by April 30th. And then in terms of all of our staff for the summer, we have we gave out contracts right before this all kind of happened. So we've had to rescind we just rescinded all of our seasonal staff contracts with the verbal agreement that if camp does run, that they'll be getting that position, but allowing them to, we took the risk that they can go somewhere else if they need to. So that's kind of what we've done with our staff and our contracts.
Okay.
So I'm really curious at Sandy Haft about that rescinding of a contract. I know that each state, each country has different laws. Would love to see some of that, because I think we're potentially headed in that direction. I mean, we have contracts out to all of our staff. We do in the contract talk about the aspect of if our registration of campers does not meet our requirements, that we may not need your services. But of course, there's nothing really there that really covers what we're dealing with in the right now. So I'm wondering whether COCA could help us with that. And I certainly don't know that you're not a legal body, but that would be very helpful.
Yeah, when we rescind, I'm in the province of BC. I don't know what the labor laws are, but our HR department took care of it, and there is a clause that they sent everyone to rescind the contracts, and then verbally just told them that they would be reissuing them if camp would be running, but that they wouldn't be reissuing them if camp wasn't running. So that seemed to be enough legally from our side of it for our organization, but I also don't know. Each state, I'm sure, is very different there.
Yeah, that's definitely a question that we can put out to all of our members, because that's a great point with contracting and rescinding of contracts. So I definitely, I'll reach out, Danielle, and maybe we can talk offline about how that process worked with BC, and then I'll find somebody in the States as well that we can contact and get some more information out to everybody. So thank you for that.
I was just on a town hall with the Ontario Camping Association before this, and they were really pushing people to check in with their legal teams about the clauses in those contracts, because some of them might not hold up in this circumstance, and that summer staff may still be eligible if they were to take this to court or something to get that lump sum of money for the summer if they're paid staff. So I would just encourage people to check in before doing that.
Excellent point. So we can keep talking and keep on going in terms of staffing, since that's kind of where we are right now. One of the other survey questions was really in regards to recruitment of staff, as far as did camps feel that under the given circumstances and based on last year's numbers, were they confidently able to recruit staff members for this year. So according to the survey that was sent out, 52% of those who were participating in the survey said that they did feel confident that they could recruit sufficient staff, sufficient number of staff for their camps. And then in the same respect, 48% of those camps thought that they could recruit enough medical staff. Again, I'll say this as the caveat: this was sent out, a week and a half ago, prior to a lot more restrictions and a lot more changes. That those numbers may have changed, those percentages, but right now that's the information that we have. So thinking about our staffing, and especially those who are may have even already done their staffing or in the process of, what did that look like this year for folks? Were you able to recruit the way you would normally recruit? Did you have to recruit differently? As far as interviews are concerned, because I know a few of you said you've already had your staff. So did interviews look a bit differently? Did you have to go virtual as opposed to in person? And what does that also look like for y'all as far as staff training? Some camps may not be there yet, because they're waiting and seeing, or they have their cutoff dates. But some may have already started or finished those processes. So what was that like for y'all?
We've been very fortunate, Sandy Half from Sunrise, to almost be fully staffed. The areas that we're concerned with, a couple of specialists, it's kind of laid out with our typical in-person Skype interviews. It felt like any other year. The big issue is nurses, and it seems to be an issue every year. But I'm certainly concerned if we're running a camp this summer that it will become a major issue to find. We have 2 nurses on staff every year. We have one that is set to go, one that we don't have a person for, and I wonder whether I will have someone in that position based on what's happening right now. As Matt, as you mentioned earlier. But in terms of staffing, we're good, but now starting to hear from staff, will I have a job? And that's a great concern.
We're still actively recruiting volunteers at this point until we make a decision for camp, but there has been a trend that the numbers where we were last year at this time in volunteer registrations is starting to decrease. So I imagine that's impacted by people's employment situations with being laid off and things like that, and not having a clear picture of what summer will look like. So we'll be sending out communications to our volunteer community to let them know that no decision has been made yet, and to encourage people in their communities to keep applying for camp, and that will just closely monitor the situation.
Are there any other camps that are seeing in or thinking about, if you're proceeding, thinking about how you want to go about switching things up a bit as far as training is concerned? I don't know what y'all's training program looks like. I know with my camp, we used to train a month before, and then do a day and a half prior to camp. a few years back, we just changed it to all the day and a half before. That was just a choice we made prior to this event, but I don't know if that has anybody thought of their training process or even what their training might have to now include if they actually go through and go forward with their camp.
Hi, it's Mackenzie again from Camp Kindle. For medical aspects of our staff training, we've created some online training modules that will hopefully be available on our webpage. And I think these will be intended for future use as well, but will probably prove really helpful given what's going on.
Great. Yeah, and I agree, Mackenzie. I think a lot of the things that we can do now in response to the virus and its effects on our camp is something that we can really apply to later on, whether it be in use for in place of, you know, parts of the training process, or in place of maybe fundraising things, or, you know, considered to be become an addition to our program, you know, camp in a box or a virtual campfire, you know, leading up to camp to get people excited. You know, I think this is a great opportunity in a very sad situation, but it's a great opportunity for us to really amp up our own programs by being forced to think about things that we didn't have to before. So I did mention fundraising as a possible having the virus having an effect on our fundraising, and I didn't know, you know, from your all's perspective, if that is becoming an issue for your camps. As part of our survey, we did put out 2 questions. You know, has fundraising been affected by the current restrictions? And, you know, 58% of those responding said yes. But based on the numbers that they had and their budgets, 72% believe that, you know, even with lack of funds this year, they could hold camp without a problem. There was 4%, however, that said yes, that would become a problem. So I'm curious for folks, has fundraising become an issue for you? Have you had to cancel or reschedule any fundraising? A lot of things have been coming up at these town halls where, you know, fundraising is really taking on a different feel and a different approach. Some folks are doing some virtual fundraising, some online auctions, and others have really moved away from a fundraising aspect as more of a donor or sponsor appreciation, where they're doing more of stewardship and really reaching out to those folks, checking on them, kind of paying it back, you know, for the restaurants that sponsored a meal, you know, that still do takeout, you know, putting it out there to folks to buy from them. So I'm curious if folks here on the call are having any of those issues or have any ideas in regards to virtual fundraising or stewardship that you'd like to talk about.
So we're going to have a major issue because, or we are having a major issue because our camp starts at the beginning of the fiscal year, July 1, and we do our biggest fundraiser towards the end of the fiscal year in early June, and that is a big walk that brings in a significant amount of money to us. So we've canceled all of our events April, May, trying to figure out how we make up a significant amount of fundraising dollars, virtual walk, other virtual items, direct solicitation of donors. But this is going to have an impact on this fiscal year. and then it's going to create a major deficit for us as we attempt to go into the next camp season for 2020. So a lot of head scratching on our side. Not panic yet, but pretty darn close.
Yeah, and Danielle from the Canadian Cancer Society, we've suspended all fundraising initiatives until further notice, and April is our biggest revenue generator for fundraising. So, and also after this, there'll be a pretty significant recession. So I think in general, the organization is just coming to understand what's the most appropriate way to give asks, and they've decided that right now that isn't appropriate, but moving forward, they're coming up. That's not part of my role, but in the organization, I think they're coming up with more virtual ways for donations to take place. And I think with some of our galas that we've had to cancel, they've given full refunds to people, but have had a line saying if you'd like to continue to give your ticket amount to the organization, we would give it towards our mission. So that has we have still received some money going that route as well.
So question for you, Danielle, JC here on the tip of the toes. When you mentioned that you've shut down everything in April, is that fundraising related to your camp or fundraising for all of CCS?
For all of CCS, and usually it's not specific at our events. They're part of the events money will come to camp, but it's for the entire organization.
So on our end, we have, let's say, 5 different sources. 4 of them are fundraising campaigns. The 5th one will be miscellaneous, I guess. Everything else. And we are lucky enough that 2 of them did happen in February and did have a significant amount of success. There's another one that's coming in next November, and we are a little scared about that one. We don't know what's going to happen. And we have another one that's coming, well, that was going to be happening in early May. One of these, shave-a-thons, balding for dollars type of event. And definitely the event won't happen. We had a survey sent out to the people that had already registered, asking them, what do you think? How's your feeling? And anyways, because we had in mind maybe keeping the event on May 2nd, but going virtual, like everyone shaving their head on Skype or something. But everyone, like massively, people told us that they wanted the event to happen, obviously getting it postponed. So we took the decision of not taking a decision. We want to give ourselves another couple of weeks and see after Easter if the situation kind of improves, and see if we can think of a date for having an event, ideally somewhere around mid-June or mid-September. So yeah, this is where we're standing for now, at least.
So I think this might actually be a really good time, since folks are talking about moving things to a virtual nature, whether it be fundraising or not, to really start to talk about what camps can do if they can't run in-person on-site camps. Because camps, as we know right now, camps are very different and take on very different shapes, whether it be an in-hospital program, sibling program, parent weekends, week-long camps, full summer camps, day camps. Camps in general are multifaceted. So we can spend the rest of our time really looking and talking to one another about what can we do, what kind of plans can we create, and this is a very important topic that we want to make sure all of our members can contribute to, so that we can share it with everybody. But what are the plans moving forward? So 2 survey questions that came up were, if you couldn't hold camp this summer, meaning on site, have you developed plans to bring camp to the kids? So 43% of the folks that did the survey said yes, they are developing plans. 57% said no, but with the caveat that they are considering or looking to make plans for a virtual program at 54%. So that's really where we want to go with this conversation, is to look at what are folks doing already, and what other ideas do we have that we can share with one another. Whether it's something that talks about camp in a box, sending items to children's homes, where with the arts and crafts projects, or their T-shirt, or some type of program like that, all the way to the online Zoom or Google Hangout, campfires, or sing-alongs, something of that nature. So we're curious as to see, are there any things that you all have created or are working on, or would like more information on, in terms of how we can bring camp to our campers if we are not on site.
Hi, it's Mackenzie from Camp Kindle again. So for our residential summer camp sessions, I don't know, I'm not sure if we currently have any plans in place, but for some of our outreach programs, we have used Facebook Live and Zoom to host like interactive meetings for some of our kids and youth. And that was for one of our physical exercise programs. And I think we're hoping to adapt some of our like child life at home resources to Facebook or Zoom platforms as well. So far, I think there's only been 2 sessions that we've hosted virtually, but the feedback was really positive. So
Great.
we'll see if we can keep moving with that.
That's awesome, Mackenzie. A few things, just if you have access to that chat function, you can see, and it's a really great idea if folks are just thinking about virtual campfires or some type of program like that. This Tuesday, no, not this Tuesday, I'm sorry, this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Camp Fantastic Special Love, which is in Virginia here, is hosting their second virtual campfire. So it is on Facebook. So you can actually just go to their Facebook page, and obviously all are welcome to see. I actually joined their first campfire. It was a lot of fun. It's different, and that as to be expected. But it's still a great way to stay engaged with your campers and their families. But if you have the opportunity and want to visit their virtual campfire on Thursday, I highly encourage it. It may spark some ideas for you and some more questions as well, which is a great thing. And also on Facebook, there is a group called Summer Camp Professionals that have been posting a great deal of virtual ideas, and also some camp in a box ideas. So that's also a great way and an additional resource for you to go visit. So those are both things are on Facebook. Special Loves Camp Fantastic, their campfire, and the page Summer Camp Professionals. 2 great things to join if you have the opportunity. Another one I'll put out there to folks, if you have an opportunity, I don't know how many people are on Facebook, but apparently a lot of my resources come from Facebook. Kids Need More Camp Adventure, based in Long Island, also is doing a tremendous amount of virtual programming. They always did virtual programming. It was just an addition to their week-long camp. They've amped it up, obviously, because of the situation, but I highly recommend visiting them on Facebook. Kids Need More Camp Adventure. It's almost daily that they have something going. They have a lot of videos that they're posting where, somebody is doing a cooking class or an arts and crafts project. They have a lot of connections with Disney princesses. So every once in a while, there's a Disney princess on there with singing a song or talking to the kids, reading them a story at night. It's just another great resource that you can hop on and visit their page to get some ideas. So I recommend, whoever you need to reach out to get some ideas. That's the great part of the organization, that we're all in this together, and we're all, unfortunately, this situation has not, or I should say, it has affected every camp that I've spoken to, and every camp that has joined our town halls. So we're definitely not in this by ourselves. There's a lot of folks that we can lean on. I know there's a number of folks that I've already reached out to for my own camp and for COCA itself. So I highly recommend that you all do the same if you need ideas and need support. Are there any other questions that you all have that maybe on topics that we did not get a chance to touch upon yet? I'd love to hear some more ideas or comments from you all.
Well, speaking of sharing ideas, JC again on the tip of the toes. Some of you might know that we don't do residential camps, we're tripping.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard for us to see how we can go virtual for anything that would be somehow related to tripping. So if you have ideas, to be quite honest, we have not put a lot of head into this yet. We're still wearing some kind of pink sunglasses, hoping that the clouds will clear away. To be fine. But yeah, if on Facebook or anywhere else you see something that can somehow relate to outdoor tripping, we'd be more than happy to hear about it.
Definitely, that's a great idea. To put it out there as well. So COCA does have a Facebook page, Children's Oncology Camping Association International. So there is a COCA page that you could post questions on out there. I highly recommend, JC, that we put that out there as well. The question about trips and that kind of stuff, what kind of virtual trips that folks have maybe created in the past as well that we can utilize for our group. There's also the Slack site on Facebook, which is really good as well, as far as ideas about different types of programming virtually and on site. So definitely please utilize all the resources that we have available. COCA also has an Instagram account, which things can be posted. There's a good group that have been posting a lot of questions and things out there to get folks still pumped for camp, regardless of how their camp may look. There's also the listserv, the COCA listserv, which if you are not on our listserv, please email Don Golden. His email address is going to be up on the next slide, and he'll get you on our listserv. So that's an important one to post questions out. It goes out to the membership. If you're a specific camp director, there's a director's listserv as well as a general listserv. So, it's a great opportunity to put questions out there and get a number of folks to respond with answers. So there are definitely ample opportunities out there to ask the questions and hopefully get some good responses, ones that are appropriate to what you're looking for. So are there any other questions or comments, concerns? Okay, so please, feel free. My email address is there, Dawn and Jennifer's. If y'all have any questions, concerns, comments, please let us know. Any way that we can be of service, that's why we're here. We do have a good amount of contacts out there. We've been in contact with many of the camps already, whether it's through this town hall or otherwise. So there may be something that you are going through or need help with, and we may have somebody that could answer some questions for you. So please don't hesitate to ask and let us know, and we'll try to find that answer for you. And if we don't have the answer, we're going to find somebody who does. That's the great part of it. So there are a lot of things came up during this town hall, and there could be potentially a lot more. So there is a survey listed on the screen. It also can be found at the COCA-I's website. The survey is two parts. The first part really is just about this specific town hall, the topics that we covered. Do you feel like we need more information on one or the other? And what are some of the takeaways from it? In addition, the second part really is about future town halls and what we could do differently and what we could do better, as well as what topics you would all like us to cover. And we'll find folks, if it's not something specifically that one of us can facilitate, we'll find somebody who can facilitate a conversation for you. Lauren was kind enough, Lauren Burke, who is our regional director from Region 9, has put up the link to join Slack. She put up an invite on the chat function there. So if you have that chat function, you can click on the link and follow it. Thank you, Lauren, for doing that. And honestly, if there's anything else anybody needs, questions, please just let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Other than that, please, I just ask everyone, as I have every town hall that I've been on, is please be safe, take care of yourselves, take care of the ones that you love. And I hope that however your camp looks this summer, I hope it's the best, because I wish you all the best and that of your campers. So thank you all so much for participating today. It's been an honor to facilitate the conversation with you. It's been an honor to be your president the last couple of years. So I just appreciate all of you. Thank you all so much for being here today. If you need anything, please let us know.